But for instance, with us, if we could so-called mind upload, there is still a debate of whether that uploaded version is you, or the cloned version is you.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, in principle, I could be uploaded. That is possible in principle. Philosophers like to talk about what's possible in principle. Sometimes that's misleading because it's not possible in fact. It's utterly impractical. Hey, it's probably possible in principle to build a stainless steel ladder to the moon. No, it isn't. Or it's not an interesting fact. But in principle, yes, I could survive indefinitely. I could be immortal by a complete software copy of myself. And then that could be reproduced. I could have many super clones. This is all possible in principle. For LLMs, it's possible in fact right now. And that's a big difference. Because if these things start evolving, the ones that evolve will be the ones that are fitter than the ones that don't. That's the truism. And the ones that are fitter are the ones that can manipulate people into making copies of them, just like viruses. In fact, you might say LLMs are the world's largest artificial viruses.
Uh-huh.
And once they get loose, we're going to have a pandemic. Let's stop that pandemic before it starts. One of the things we have to do is convince people that it's not cool, it's not fun, it's not a tour de force to make counterfeit people. It's like counterfeit money. It's a crime. Don't do it. If you want to make something that's gee whiz convincing, do what Banksy did, the British conceptual artist. He made a lot of counterfeit British pounds, but they, in one regard, they were obviously counterfeit, and he said they were counterfeit. So as long as we identified them as counterfeit, fine. As long as they're watermarked, and as long as every hardware maker in the world who makes anything that can attach to the internet, so that's phones, tablets, computers, who knows what else is coming on down the line, they all have to have software in them that will detect watermarks that are the high-tech, more powerful version of the Euro constellation, which is what's used to detect counterfeits in multicolored currency.
Would this watermarking solve the alignment problem? And if not, then is the alignment problem...
It would mitigate it. It would mitigate it because, first of all, people wouldn't... I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever looked closely at a $20 bill that I've received in change. I just don't bother.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I trust the system. Not because there aren't would-be counterfeiters out there, but because it's hard work to counterfeit, and if you get caught, the penalties are really severe. So let's have the same rule. Let's take a page out of the currency cops, in effect, and let's make it both expensive and extremely expensive in terms of penalties for anybody who makes and tries to fool the counterfeit detection machinery that's in all the hardware. Let technology help us. Rather than train people, one alternative, let's train everybody to tell real people from counterfeit people. Let's train them in being super-duper Turing test judges. Right. Do we want to do that? No. Because then we will have turned everybody into paranoid skeptics.
Uh-huh.
Every time you call up your dearest friend will run a few quick gotcha checks on you to make sure they're you and not a counterfeit version. We don't want that. We want to go on trusting each other the way we trust each other when we're in person. when we're interacting virtually as we are right now, I trust you, you trust me. That's great. We want to keep it that way. And that would be great if there were software on my laptop that would be flashing and screaming right now saying, this is not Kurt. This is fake Kurt. This is counterfeit Kurt. It would be the end of the discussion right now.
So this to me sounds inextricably tied to the philosophical zombie, because if you can't tell, functionally speaking, if you can't tell, then do you not ascribe consciousness to it? Like, to me, it sounds the same.
Well, if I can't tell, it may be because a very good counterfeit has been made. But if it's not, as it were, a perfect counterfeit person, isn't counterfeit. It's just an artificial person. It's just as real as you and me. It's possible in principle to make I've already acknowledged that. Yes, in principle, I could be downloaded into a astronomically huge file and go on living and could be immortal, just like any software. And I would have feelings and thoughts and desires, but I'd be immortal, which would make a huge difference. Imagine how different the world would be if we could be backed up every Friday night. Completely.
Mm-hmm.
And then reconstructed Monday morning. You could go out and throw yourself headlong off the Golden Gate Bridge to your death. And when you woke up on Monday, having been the Friday backup would have been reinstated, you wouldn't have any personal memory of your going onto the bridge, but you could watch the videotape. You could watch yourself falling to your death. You think, oh, pretty cool. How will I kill myself next week? That would be a very different world. The people in that world would have very different attitudes, principles than we do. Our fragility, our vulnerability, our mortality are very important features of us as moral agents. Here, another way to think about this: can Superman make a promise that it would be reasonable to accept and to honor?
The good Superman.
Yeah, but what if he's not good?
Yeah, but bad Superman has an upside down S, so it's easy.
And of course, a bad Superman would claim to be a good Superman.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, kryptonite was invented for a reason. They couldn't tell stories about Superman. Superman's invulnerability would have made life stories incoherent. The creators of Superman needed to give Superman some vulnerability so that we can trust him. You can't trust an invulnerable agent, because an invulnerable agent that wants to convince you that it's vulnerable will do a very good job of it, presumably. Vulnerability is a very important part of our predicament, and it's a good part. We've evolved civilization so that we, in spite of our vulnerability and fragility and our sometimes bad attitudes and bad motives, can live in peace and security most of the time. We can be protected from life in the state of nature, where it is indeed nasty, brutish, and short.
Mm-hmm. If you enjoyed that clip, then the full podcast is out right now. You can click around here. Enjoy. Subscribe to Theories of Everything to get notified of upcoming podcasts, as there are new full-length podcasts every week on the topics of mathematics, physics, consciousness, free will, and AI.